Yo, what's good, people? CJ Williams tapping in. Now look, the rap game and the podcast game aren't that different from each other. For every superstar MC, there's countless other wannabes fighting to break through. Same goes for pod. Yes, Joe Budden and $1 million worth of game got big boy deals north of 7 figures, but what about those who came and went before the Brinks truck could get backed up? Today we highlight 10 rapper-led podcasts that started and have since ended for whatever reason. Make sure you like and subscribe if you rock with the content. Without further ado, let's get it. When two of the sharpest pens in hip-hop link up for a podcast, you know it's not your average two dudes with a mic show. That's exactly what the Lupe and Royce show brought to the table when it launched in 2021. Lupe Fiasco, the cerebral, concept-driven MC behind Food and Liquor, and Royce the 5'9", the bar-heavy Detroit-bred lyricist of Book of Rhyme fame, came together to give fans a podcast equal parts intellect, humor, and pure rap nerdery. This wasn't just a hip-hop podcast, it was an experience. Sure, they discussed music, but they also dived headfirst into topics like philosophy, social justice, and the bizarre quirks of life. One episode might break down the metaphysics of art, and the next would find them debating pineapple on pizza. If you're asking us, it definitely belongs on there. The magic of the show came from their dynamic. Royce's grounded, street-savvy perspective clashed beautifully with Lupe's quirky, borderline professional takes. It was like watching two rap Jedis trade verses, except this time it was ideas. And when disagreements popped up, they didn't shy away. The infamous fallout that led to the show's untimely end, proof that they lived what they preach. Authenticity at all costs.
Hey, yo, what's up, y'all? This is Royce the 5'9", and obviously, I don't know how swords work.
Despite its short 23-episode run, the Lupe and Royce show felt like a masterclass in hip-hop and humanity, reminding listeners that even in a genre built on competition, the real art is in the conversation. Imagine pulling up a chair in a Brooklyn kitchen where the conversation is as raw as the streets that raised its host. That's the vibe of Maino's Kitchen Talk, a podcast that brought unfiltered discussions about hip-hop, culture, and life straight to the table. Launching in 2020, Maino's show was as authentic as they come, reflecting the no-nonsense grit of a rapper who's lived every word he spits. Joined by co-hosts Georgie and Hala, Maino created a space where guests like Jim Jones, Fat Joe, and Dave East could let their guard down and speak freely. None more than the late Mr. C, speaking on his affection for transsexuals.
So people thought
you like trannies though.
Yeah, that's what I do, bro.
That's
you know
what you
me.
do.
You know what I do. That's what I do.
It doesn't get any more candid than that. But this wasn't your average interview podcast. Maino's charisma and street-earned wisdom set the tone, blending humor, honesty, and hard truths. Whether they were debating the state of New York rap, dissecting pop culture moments, or sharing personal growth stories, Kitchen Talk felt like chopping it up with family, if your family happened to be hip-hop royalty. While the podcast run was cut short, Kitchen Talk left its mark. It wasn't just a show, it was a reminder of where Maino came from and what he represents. The hustle, the struggle, and the triumph. More recently, Mr. High Hater can be seen co-hosting the Way Up radio show with Breakfast Club alum Angela Yee, so you never know, maybe another season is in order for Kitchen Talk. When David Banner speaks, you listen.
David Banner.
And not just because the Mississippi-born rapper has a commanding voice, but because he has something to say. The David Banner podcast, launched in 2019, is a reflection of that energy, a platform where hip-hop, black empowerment, and self-discovery intersect. Known for his hits like a Pimp, Banner uses his podcast to drop knowledge instead of club bangers, delivering thought-provoking discussions about culture, community, and personal growth. The show's foundation lies in Banner's evolution from a rapper-producer to a cultural thought leader. It's a space where heavy topics like systematic racism, mental health, and economic empowerment are tackled head-on, all while maintaining a conversational tone that keeps listeners engaged. Whether he's breaking down the importance of black ownership, dissecting political strategies, or sharing gems about spirituality, Banner brings the same passion that made him a force in music. What set the David Banner podcast apart is its mix of intellect and accessibility. Banner's authenticity shined as he bridged the gap between scholarly insights and real-world application. Episodes would often feature guest experts from activists to business leaders, adding layers of perspective to the discussion. And to remind you that it was still hip-hop, every so often guests like Benny the Butcher would even hit the booth, giving us major Rap City to Basement vibes. When you've been a boss in the rap game for decades, you've got stories, wisdom, and unfiltered opinions to share. And Slim Thug did exactly that. Through his ventures into podcasting and content creation, the Houston legend expanded his empire, giving fans a front row seat to his world.
You tuned in to The Connect.
legit.
Known for his deep drawl and smooth delivery, Slim's content is a mix of life lessons, business insights, and a little Houston flair. Whether he's hosting candid conversations about success, relationships, and personal growth, or reflecting on his own journey in the rap game, Slim always kept it real. His foray into podcasting and social media content showcases a different side of the man who gave us already platinum. Slim brings the same authenticity to the mic, dropping gems for fans and aspiring entrepreneurs alike. One of the earliest rappers in the podcast space, episodes of The Connect were laid back yet impactful, kind of like chopping it up with your OG about how to move smarter, stack money, and avoid the pitfalls of fame. Slim's unapologetically himself, whether he's calling out the nonsense in modern culture or celebrating the entrepreneurial grind. Although the pod seems to be on hold, Slim can still be seen on IG Live multiple times a week, using his platform to inspire, educate, and entertain. If you're a fan of his music or just a hustler looking for motivation, his content is a reminder to stay true, work hard, and always keep it playable. Known as the King of the South, T.I. has always been more than a rapper. With a career spanning music, acting, and entrepreneurship, it's no surprise he brought his signature charisma and intellect to the podcast world with Expeditiously. Launched in 2019, the podcast showcased T.I.'s ability to navigate complex topics with wit and depth. True to its name, Expeditiously dives into conversations that move fast but leave lasting impressions. From dissecting cultural issues to exploring politics, family, business, and everything in between, Tip proves he's a man of many hats and opinions. The show was a blend of raw honesty and intellectual curiosity. T.I. invites a mix of guests from hip-hop heavyweights and cultural icons to political figures and entrepreneurs, creating a platform that balances entertainment with enlightenment. Episodes cover a range of topics like systematic racism, fatherhood, financial literacy, and even the nuances of the rap game, all delivered with T.I.'s signature southern drawl and sharp wit. What made Expeditiously stand out was T.I.'s knack for creating thought-provoking dialogue while keeping it relatable. His journey from the streets of Atlanta to becoming a cultural force is woven into every episode, making it clear that he is still learning, growing, and hustling just like his audience. Although the podcast came to an abrupt halt around the same time allegations came out against he and his wife Tiny, allegations that were later proven to be false, by the way, T.I. claims the math just wasn't mathing with the pod, which is why he pivoted out. Now you can catch Harris using his big words on stage during his comedy act. Yo, let us know down below if you believe he's got a future as a comedian. Lil Wayne, one of hip-hop's most celebrated icons, brought his unmistakable charisma and star power to the podcast space with Young Money Radio in 2020.
Welcome to another season of Young Money Radio. We back. Young Moolah, baby.
Hosted on Apple Music, the show wasn't just a podcast. It was a cultural event, blending music, interviews, and Wayne's signature off-the-cuff commentary. Young Money Radio arrived during the pandemic, offering fans a much-needed escape and a rare opportunity to hear from Wayne in an intimate setting. Each episode featured a mix of candid conversations with some of the biggest names in music, sports, and entertainment. Guests included the likes of Nicki Minaj, Dr. Dre, Kevin Hart, and even political figures like Dr. Anthony Fauci. Wayne's ability to create a relaxed, engaging atmosphere turned these interviews into memorable moments, often revealing sides of his guests you wouldn't catch anywhere else. But it wasn't all interviews. Wayne used his platform to share exclusive music, talk about his personal journey, and prove insight into the creative space behind his legendary career. From heartfelt reflections to laugh-out-loud stories, Young Money Radio showcased Wayne's range, not just as an artist, but as a thinker and cultural commentator. Now, there are rumors of the show's return this February, so we'll have to wait and see if Young Money Radio is back. Pharrell Williams isn't just a musical genius, he's an innovator, entrepreneur, and cultural force. With his podcast, Othertone, Pharrell brought listeners into his world of creativity and collaboration through thought-provoking conversations. Launched in 2017, alongside his longtime friend Scott, with guest hosting duties by Chad Hugo and VA rapper Fam Lay from time to time, Othertone is where music, culture, and ideas converge in a way that only Skateboard P can pull off. The podcast name says it all. Othertone is about exploring the unconventional, the unexpected, and the alternative. In each episode, Pharrell invites a mix of artists, producers, entrepreneurs, and intellectuals to discuss everything from art and music to philosophy and innovation. Guests have ranged from Quincy Jones to Seth Rogen to Tony Hawk, showcasing Pharrell's diverse interest and ability to bring together the most interesting minds in any room. What makes Othertone unique is Pharrell's approach to conversation. He doesn't just interview his guests, he engages in deep, introspective dialogue that's both inspiring and illuminating.
I'll tell you the truth, it's what drove me to drugs.
The pressure?
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm going to either kill myself or I'm going to do some drugs. and I don't want to live, so.
Whether it's talking about his own journey in music, dissecting the creative process, or exploring social issues, Pharrell's curiosity and wisdom come through loud and clear. For listeners who appreciate a blend of intellectual depth with a laid-back creative vibe, Othertone was a podcast that encourages out-of-the-box thinking and reminds us that in music and in life, there are no limits on what can be achieved. Fat Joe, the Bronx legend known for his streetwise wisdom and undeniable hustle, took his larger-than-life persona to the podcast world with Cocavision, offering fans an unfiltered, behind-the-scenes look into his life and the world of hip-hop. Originally dropping in 2020 via Tidal, Cocavision explored the intersection of music, culture, business, and Joe's personal experiences, giving listeners an inside view of what it takes to succeed at higher levels. The title, Cocavision, is a nod to Joe's iconic career in the streets and the music industry where he built his empire. The podcast would feature candid interviews with some of the biggest names in entertainment, sports, and business, all while staying true to Joe's roots and the principles that have made him a legend. One of the most memorable moments came when Fat Joe interviewed the controversial rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine months before his legal issues and infamous testimony. During the interview, Fat Joe gave 6ix9ine some street wisdom, warning him about the potential consequences of his actions, and the conversation became eerily prescient when Tekashi's legal situation played out.
You're a young dude, you banging, can you control your friends? It's a major bro. I'm Fat Joe, listen to me. Understand. Fat Joe from the Bronx.
For fans sad that this ended, no worries. You can catch Joey Crack on Starz Network with his new show, Fat Joe Talks. Nicki Minaj has never been one to shy away from the spotlight, and her podcast, Queen Radio, is a testament to her unapologetic personality and undeniable influence. Launched in 2018, Queen Radio was a mix of music, celebrity interviews, and Nicki's unfiltered thoughts on everything from the rap game to pop culture, all while showcasing her larger-than-life presence. What set Queen Radio apart is Nicki's ability to blend entertainment with authenticity. The show was more than just music. It was a platform where she shares personal stories, drops exclusives, and even vents about industry drama. Fans got a behind-the-scenes look at her life, from her rise to stardom to her journey as a mother and businesswoman. But true to Nicki's style, it was never boring. Whether she's throwing shade, celebrating her latest achievements, or offering her take on social issues, Nicki kept the energy high and the conversations lively. The show also featured interviews with fellow artists, celebrities, and other influential figures, offering a mix of insights and fun banter. It was the perfect space for fans to connect with Nicki on a deeper level, learning about her creative process and hearing her thoughts on topics that matter to her. For anyone who loved Nicki Minaj's blend of fierceness, humor, and raw honesty, Queen Radio was a must listen. Look, it's her kingdom. We're all just lucky to be in it. Jeezy's The Recession was more than a podcast. It was a movement. Launched in 2020 during one of the most challenging global periods in recent memory, the podcast was named after his iconic 2008 album of the same name. Much like that LP, the podcast focused on themes of resilience, hustle, and overcoming adversity, offering listeners motivation and actionable advice to navigate life's tough moments.
I just remember at times when I even thought like, man, like I'm not gonna be able to pull this off. And I could just hear you in my head from those podcasts saying, try it again, keep trying it.
In its brief run, the Recession podcast stood out for its unique blend of hip-hop culture and self-improvement. Jeezy used his platform to hold thought-provoking conversations with a wide range of guests, from business leaders and entertainers to financial experts and motivational speakers. Episodes tackled critical topics like financial literacy, entrepreneurship, mental health, and personal growth, all tied back to Jeezy's own journey from the streets to success. The Snowman's raw authenticity made the podcast resonate deeply with fans and new listeners alike. He brought the same energy and insight that defined his music career, showing that his ability to inspire extended far beyond the studio. Despite its potential, the Recession podcast quietly faded away after a limited number of episodes, leaving fans with only a glimpse of what could have been a long-running, impactful series. Though it's no longer active, the Recession podcast remains a testament to Jeezy's evolution and his desire to uplift others. It served as a reminder that even in the hardest times, growth and success are within reach if you're willing to put in the work. Hey yo, we want to know from you, if you could pick one or two of these to come back, which would you choose? Also, dead or alive, what rapper do you think would have made a great podcast? The best answers will get pinned to the top. Make sure you like and subscribe, and to support the channel, check out the bonus content on Patreon. You don't want to miss Q's first time hearing Ghetto D or Machiavelli. I know, that's crazy, right? Yo, link is in the description. Until the next time, it's your man CJ for CT. Peace.